Hello everyone, welcome to Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. I'm here to solve a thermo Sudoku sent to us by Chocchip. Thank you Chocchip for sending us a few Sudokus. The difficulty rating given to the Sudoku by the author is around 4 to 4.5 stars. My first thought was that how could this Sudoku be difficult? Because all you could see is like a bunch of 2-cell long thermometers. Could this Sudoku be any hard? But this Sudoku turned out to be a really hard one, and it has an excellent solve path, a couple of narrow deductions, but not so easy to find, and that made this Sudoku deserve at least 4.5 stars difficulty level. And it has an excellent solve path. It's not like that those two narrow deductions are really beyond the realm of what a human could see. They are incredibly narrow, but of course it could be found if you look at it in the right way. So the link to solve this is in the description of the video. I will also add a link to the author's blog where many of his Sudokus can be found. So without much further ado, let's jump into the rules of the Sudoku. Each row, each column and 3x3 box in the grid has digits from 1 to 9 without any repetitions. And apart from that, you can see these thermometers, right? There are 5 thermometers in the grid, and in each of these thermometers the digits will strictly increase starting from the round bulb until the flat end. And all these are 2-cell long thermometers, so you don't need to keep track of the round bulb on the flat end. They are just on you can say nearby cells. And before I start solving, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and do consider supporting us on Patreon. We would really appreciate if you become a Patreon of the channel. So let's start the Sudoku now. Let me go to Sudoku mode. Okay, so 1 in row 1 and 1 in row 2, so which means one goes in one of these two cells. One is not here, one is not here, one goes in one of these two cells. And one in column 1 and 2 are not going to be here, so which means one goes here. And one is not in column 7 and column 8, so one goes here. So we have mapped all the ones in the grid. Let's go to 2s. 2 is in row 1, row 2, so 2 goes here. 2 in row 7, row 8, 2 goes here. And let's look at the columns. 2 goes here. All basic standard stuff. There's nothing to explain. Okay, I think we have got all the 2s in the grid. Let's go to 3s. So 3 is in one of these two cells. 3 is in column 2 and 3, so 3 goes in one of these two cells. 3 is in column 8 and 9, 3 goes in one of these two cells. And the final 3 in box 2 goes in one of these two cells. And before we proceed further into the next deduction, you can see here that if this flat end takes a 3, what happens? Then the round bulb must be less than 3, and it must be 1 or 2, both of which are not possible. So 3 is not going to be here. So 3 goes here, and that gives a 3 here. Let's continue with the 4s now. 4 is in row 2 and row 3, so that gives a 4 in one of these two cells. And you can't have 4 in column 2 and column 3, so 4 is also not here, so 4 goes here. And that gives a 4 in row 4. And 4 in row 7, if you look closely, must be in one of these two cells. Right. Let's look at the 5s. We had a whole bunch of 1, 2, 3s and 4s, but you can't find many 5s or 6 or 7 or 8, and there is no 9 in the grid. So we can't do much with these, but rather you need to look for some really crucial deductions. And this would require some amount of pencil marking, because it's kind of difficult to see without pencil marks. Of course, if you're a really an excellent solver, then you can see all these things, but according to me, it's difficult to see without pencil marks. So if you look closely at column 2 and column 8, one of the defining deductions, I said there were a couple of narrow deductions in the Sudoku. We are going to see one of them first. You can't have 5 here, you can't have 5 here. And similarly, you can't have 5 here, you can't have 5 here because of this 5 and this 5. So 5 in column 2 goes in these two cells, 5 in column 8 goes in these two cells. Now, what does that do? Look at this cell. This can't take a 5 because for these two rows, row 6 and row 8, we have already got two 5s. So we can't put any more 5s in those two rows because any two rows, or for that matter, any two columns or boxes in the grid will always have just that many instances of that digit. So this can't be a 5. And why this cell in particular? Remember, if I had excessively pencil marked, I could have easily shown you this, but I'm just going to show you, kind of visually. If this cell is not a 5, look carefully what is happening. This is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is not 1, 2, 4, 5. So you have exactly 4 cells which have 1, 2, 4, 5 along that column. Let me highlight those cells. One of the first tougher deductions in the grid. So the red cells are the only cells in that column which can take 1, 2, 4 and 5. So the green cell obviously cannot be 1 or 4 or 2 or 5. And similarly, these two cells cannot be 1, 2, 4 or 5 because of the ones given already in the box. And this cell, just now we have eliminated the 5 because of this X swing. So it also cannot be 1, 2, 4 and 5. And 3 is already in the grid, right? So the green cells can only be a quad which must be 6, 7, 8 and 9. Let's pencil mark that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 6, 7, 8, 9. And the rest of the cells must be 1, 2, 4 and 5. So this cannot be a 4. So this is a 1, 2, 5. This is not 1 or a 2 or a 5. So this has to be a 4. Superb. So remember, the red cells has to take 1, 2, 4 and 5, but they can't be 1, 2 and 5. So this would be a 4. Excellent. Now we'll get one more 4 in the grid. So this 4 gets fixed here and that pushes the 3 into this cell. That gives a 3 here and that also gives a 3 here. What a deduction, guys. What an excellent deduction. This was the first, you can say, turning point in the Sudoku. The next one is even harder. So I will, I'll take a pause and I'll allow the solvers to find it visually. So until then, we'll continue the Sudoku. I was really amazed seeing this deduction. This X-swing first and then the next one. So we got all 3s, all 4s. And you have 1, 2, 5 still yet to be in the red cell. So this is 1, 2, 5. And this is 1, 2, 5, but that cannot be 1 or a 2. So that's a 5. Very nice. So look at these cells now. This cannot be 5 now, right? So this is 1 or a 2. And this is also not a 5. So that's 1 and 2. So we get a pair in there. And this green also cannot take an 8, 6, 7, 9. And look at this center cell, cannot be 1, 2, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. So this would be forced. It's a 9. These are not 9s, those are 6, 7, 8s, and this is also 6, 7, 8 for the box. Now let me remove the colors. Okay, that's done. What next? Okay, let's fill in the thermos a bit because we have not paid enough attention to any of these 2 cell thermometers. So let's do that a bit. Look at row 5. This has to be 5 or 8. Can't be 1. This is 158 and that's 158. And look at this cell. 3, 4, 5, 8, and 1 and 2 are eliminated. So this is 6 or a 7. 9 is of course not possible at the bulb of a thermometer. So this is forced to be greater than that. 7, 8, 9. Let's look at row 2. This cannot be anything from 1 to 6. So this is only 7 or 8 and can't be greater than that. So this is 8 or 9. And this cannot be 7. So that's 6, 8, and 9. Okay, fine. Let's look at column 5. It's almost filled. 1, 4, 5, 9, 3, and 8. So we need 2, 6, and 7. So this is 6, 7, 2, 6, 7, and 2, 6, and 7. And look at this 2-cell thermometer. The minimum value that can get into this cell is a 6. Maximum would be 8. So this is minimum 7, maximum 9. Okay, so this gives rise to one more interesting deduction. Along row 6, look where the 1 and 2 goes. So already many cells are taking values which are not 1 and 2. So this made me look a bit deeper. So column 2 doesn't take 1, 2, and column 8 doesn't take 1, 2. So there are exactly 2 cells left for 1 and 2 in that column. So that locks a pair in there. Okay, so what next? So I think we have more or less reached the point where that second narrow deduction is going to be coming very soon. Column 2, this cell has to be 7, 8, 9. I'm just seeing if I'm missing something simpler before that step. Okay, so this is the point where I found the next deduction. It's not an easy deduction at all. So if you would like to pause here and find that yourself, you can try, but I'm warning you again, it is not an easy deduction at all. So I'll pause myself for 2 seconds and then I'll continue. Okay, so the continuation here is seeing that 6 cannot go here. What a mind-blowing deduction, guys. What a deduction. I mean, how on earth can you see such deductions? So I was looking along row 2, and the way I hit that was when I was solving this prior, I was somehow hoping that either 6 or 7 comes here, so that you can get 2 here or 1 here, right? So I was thinking along that line, and then that made me see if this could be a 6. Look what happens. Let me use a red color. If this is a 6, this is forced to be a 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is forced to be a 5. This is 8. And now where does the 8 go in box 9? 8 is in one of these 2 cells. And now that leads to a contradiction. 8 cannot go here. 8 cannot go here. What a simply mind-blowing deduction to see visually. Not easy at all. If you had seen this deduction visually, then give yourself a pat on the back. This is an excellent deduction to see and an extremely satisfying one. And truly this Sudoku deserves a 4.5 stars difficulty level. It's extremely hard to see these kind of deductions. So this cannot be a 6. That forces 5, 8 here and an 8 here again. So simply not possible. So I'll go back here. That eliminates the 6 from here, right? So this becomes 8, 9, and that puts the 6 in these 2 cells, which means this is 7, and 6 and 7 are eliminated here. This is 2, this is 1, this is 2, and that's not 2 or 7. So that is 6, that is 7, that is 9, and that is 1. What a deduction, guys. What a mind-blowing deduction, really. Very hard to see and very, very satisfying. I was extremely happy that I could solve the Sudoku on the channel. Excellent. So look at row 8 now. 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 1 and 3. So we need 5 and 6. So this is 5, 6 and 5, 6. You have a 6 here. So that's a 5 and that's a 6. Oops. And I have, for some reason, I'm at a 5 here, not sure why. Yeah. So the X-wing. This is not a 5. So 5 in column 8 now goes here. And that forces 5 in row 5 goes here. That gives 8 here, gives 1 here, gives 2 here, gives 1 here. Just that one pencil mark elimination is just wreaking havoc in the Sudoku. Excellent one, guys. Wow. Great creation, Chocchip. So look at this column. Where does the 2 go? Only one cell left. I mean, it's rather looking at this box and asking where does the 2 go? Just one cell. 2 is here. This is a 7, 8, 9. And now 9 is in one of these 2 cells. That eliminates 9 here. That eliminates 8 here. This is 7, so this is minimum 8. And you have a pair 8, 9, so this becomes a 6, 7. That is instantly resolved. So that's a 6, that's a 7, that becomes a 6. Okay, and this is 8 or a 9. Let's finish off this. 6 and 9, right? So that's a 9, that's a 6. So on a different note, solving these kind of Sudokus really improves your skills. And if you're really seeing these visually, these kind of deductions visually, then you can take it in return that your skills have gone to the next level. So this is 8 for the column, completing it. That's a 7. This is a 7. That's 8 and 9. And 9 is not here, so that's 8, that's 9. This is not 7, so that's 7. So that's a 6, 8 pair. That's a 6, 8 again for the column. And 8 is here. So that is 6. That is 8. That is 6. And by the way, we also conducted a poll yesterday asking which of the authors would I be making a video on for today. And about 20 to 25% of you guessed the answer correctly, that it was Chocchip. A majority of you went for Rift Clown for some reason. So, but today's video is not by Rift Clown. 1, 2, 5, 6, 3, 4, 7. So this is 8, 9. That 8 gives a 9 here, gives an 8 here, gives a 9 here. And this is 5, 8. Let's finish off the Sudoku now. That's 6, 7. That is 5, 9, right? Yep. Let's look at this row. 7, 9. So that's 7, that's 9. And that finishes off 9, 5. And that would be 5, 8. And with that, we have finished this gorgeous creation by Chocchip. Once again, we are extremely thankful to the author for sending us numerous Sudokus. In fact, we received 4 of his creations, and I narrowed down this one for a video. Maybe we'll make one more Sudoku for a video, not sure yet. But this was exceptional, guys. A really good thermo. So do let us know your thoughts in comments, how you found the Sudoku. Did you enjoy it as much as me? Would be happy to know. So until we see you, take care. Bye-bye.